Gennadiy Gennadyevich Golovkin, often known by his nickname GGG or Triple G, is a Kazakhstani professional boxer. He has held multiple middleweight world championships, and is a two-time unified champion, having held the IBF title since 2019 and the WBA title since April 2022. Previously he held the unified WBA, WBC, and IBF titles between 2014 and 2018. He is also a two-time IBO middleweight champion, in his second reign since 2019. Golovkin was ranked as the world's best boxer, pound for pound, from September 2017 to September 2018 by The Ring magazine. As of August 2022, he is ranked as the world's third best active boxer, pound for pound, by BoxRec, and 10th by the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board. He is also ranked as the world's best active middleweight by BoxRec, The Ring, and TBRB, and second by ESPN. In 2010, Golovkin won the WBA interim middleweight title by defeating Milton Nunez. The WBA elevated him to regular champion status in the same year. He won the IBO title the following year. In 2014, Golovkin was elevated to the status of WBA champion and successfully defended both his titles against Daniel Gil. Later that year he defeated Marco Antonio Rubio to win WBC interim middleweight title, and defeated David Lemieux for the IBF middleweight title in 2015. After Canelo Alvarez vacated his WBC middleweight title in 2016, Golovkin was elevated to full champion and held 3 of the 4 major world titles in boxing. Golovkin lost all his titles, including his undefeated record, following a loss to Alvarez in 2018. He regained his IBF and IBO titles by defeating Sergei Derevyanchenko in 2019, and regained his WBA title by defeating Rita Murata in 2022. A calculating pressure fighter, Golovkin is known for his exceptionally powerful and precise punching, balance, and methodical movement inside the ring. With a streak of 23 knockouts that spanned from 2008 to 2017, he holds the highest knockout-to-win ratio 89.7% in middleweight championship history. Golovkin is also said to have one of the most durable chins in boxing history, having never been knocked down or otherwise stopped in a total of 395 fights, 45 as a professional and 350 as an amateur. In his amateur career, Golovkin won a gold medal in the middleweight division at the 2003 World Championships. He went on to represent Kazakhstan at the 2004 Summer Olympics, winning a middleweight silver medal. Early life. Golovkin was born in the city of Karaganda in the Kazakh SSR, Soviet Union, to a Russian coal miner father and Korean mother, who worked as an assistant in a chemical laboratory. He has 3 brothers, 2 elder named Sergei and Vadim, and a twin, Max. Sergei and Vadim had encouraged Golovkin to start boxing when Golovkin was 8 years old. As a youth, Golovkin would walk the streets with them, who went around picking fights for him with grown men. When asked, "Are you afraid of him?" Golovkin would respond no, and be told to fight. "My brothers, they were doing that from when I was in kindergarten," Golovkin said. Every day, different guys. When Golovkin was 9 years old, Golovkin's 2 older brothers joined the Soviet Army. In 1990, the government had informed Golovkin's family that Vadim was dead. In 1994, the government told Golovkin's family that Sergei was dead. Golovkin's first boxing gym was in Ma'i Kyuduk, Karaganda, Kazakhstan, where his first boxing coach was Viktor Dmitriev, whom he regards as very good. A month after he first entered the gym, at age 10, the trainer ordered him to step into the ring to check his skills, and he lost his first fight. Amateur career. Golovkin began boxing competitively in 1993, age 11, winning the local Karaganda regional tournament in the cadet division. It took several years before he was allowed to compete against seniors, and 7 years before he was accepted to the Kazakhstani national boxing team, and began competing internationally. In the meantime he graduated from the Karaganda State University Athletics and Sports Department, receiving a degree and a PE teacher qualification. He became a scholarship holder with the Olympic Solidarity Program in November 2002. At the 2003 World Amateur Boxing Championships in Bangkok, he won the gold medal beating future two-time champion Matvey Korobov 1910, Andy Lee, Lucian Butte, Yordanes Despain in the semi-finals and Oleg Mishkin in the finals. Upon his victory at the 2003 championships, a boxing commentator calling the bout for NTV Plus Sports, said, "Golovkin. Remember that name. We sure will hear it again." He qualified for the Athens Games by winning the gold medal at the 2004 Asian Amateur Boxing Championships in Puerto Princesa, Philippines. In the final he defeated home fighter Christopher Kamat. At the 2004 Summer Olympics he defeated Ahmed Ali Khan Pakistan 31-10, Ramadan Yasser 31-20 and Andrei Diril 23-18, losing to the Russian Gaydarbek Gaydarbekov 18-28 to take the silver medal. At the World Championships in 2005 he sensationally lost to Mohammad Haikal. He finished his amateur career with an outstanding record of 345-5, with all his defeats being very close on points, no stoppages, and the majority of all losses eventually avenged within a year. Highlights: Professional career. Early career. After ending his amateur career in 2005, Golovkin signed with the Universum Box promotion and made his professional debut in May 2006. By the end of 2008, Golovkin's record stood at 14-0 and while he had few wins over boxers regarded as legitimate contenders, he was regarded as one of the best prospects in the world. Golovkin was given 4 more relatively easy bouts in 2009. In 2010, Universum started to run into financial issues after having been dropped by German television channel ZDF. This caused a number of issues for Golovkin, who was effectively unable to fight in Germany, and contract disputes between the two parties got complicated. Golovkin terminated his contract with Universum in January 2010 and stated the following in an interview: "The reason for this decision is that I've always been placed behind Felix Sturm and Sebastian Zeebek by Universum. Our demands to fight against Felix Sturm or Sebastian Zeebek have been always rejected on absurd grounds. Universum had no real plan or concept for me, they did not even try to bring my career forward. They would rather try to prevent me from winning a title as long as Sturm and Zeebek are champions." Furthermore, bouts against well-known and interesting opponents were held out in prospect, but nothing happened. This situation was not acceptable. It was time to move forward. After cutting ties with Universum, the WBA issued an interim title fight between Golovkin, ranked number 1 at the time, and Milton Núñez. Golovkin routed Núñez, defeating him in 58 seconds to become a world champion. Golovkin was promptly upgraded to WBA champion. He tried to fight WBA champion Felix Sturm and Hassan Endam Enjikam during this time, but was unable to get them in the ring. Oleg Herman, Golovkin's manager, said it is very hard to find a good opponent. Everybody knows that Felix Sturm is afraid of Gennady. Strictly speaking, Sturm should get out of boxing and become a marathon runner because he is running fast and long. He has an excellent chance to become a champion in athletics. Fighting in the United States. Golovkin was determined to become a worldwide name, dreaming of following in the Klitschko brothers' footsteps by fighting in Madison Square Garden and Staples Center. He signed with K2 Promotions and went into training in Big Bear, California with Abel Sanchez, the veteran trainer behind Hall of Famer Terry Norris and many other top talents. At first, Sanchez was misled by Golovkin's humble appearance, I looked at him, I thought, man. This guy is a choir boy. But soon he was stunned by and impressed with Golovkin's talent and attitude from their first meeting. He has since then worked to add Mexican-style aggression to Golovkin's Eastern European-style amateur discipline, thereby producing a formidable hybrid champion. I have a chalkboard in the gym, and I wrote Ali's name, Manny Pacquiao's name and his name, Sanchez said. I told him, you could be right there. He was all sheepish, but once I felt his hands, and I saw how smart he was in the ring and how he caught on, sheesh. He's going to be the most avoided fighter in boxing, or he's going to get the chance he deserves. Golovkin was scheduled to make his HBO debut against Dmitry Pirog in August 2012. Pirog had vacated his WBO middleweight title to face Golovkin. This was because Pirog had been mandated to fight interim champion Hassan Endam Enjikam. Weeks before the fight, it was announced that Pirog had suffered a back injury, a ruptured disc that would prevent him from fighting on the scheduled date, but Golovkin would still face another opponent on HBO. Several comeback attempts by Pirog were thwarted by ongoing back problems, effectively forcing his premature retirement. Golovkin vs. Proxa, Rosado. Golovkin vs. Ishida, McLean. Golovkin vs. Stevens. Golovkin vs. Adama. Unified middleweight champion. On June 3, 2014, after 10 successful title defenses, the World Boxing Association officially elevated Golovkin from regular middleweight champion to super champion. Golovkin was also granted a special permission to defend his title against Daniel Gil. Golovkin had been previously ordered to face number 2 Jared Fletcher. Golovkin vs. Gil. Golovkin vs. Rubio. Golovkin vs. Murray. Golovkin vs. Monroe Jr. Golovkin vs. Lemieux. Golovkin vs. Wade. Golovkin vs. Alvarez negotiations. Golovkin vs. Brook. Golovkin vs. Jacobs. Golovkin vs. Alvarez. Cancelled Alvarez rematch. Golovkin vs. Martirosyan. Golovkin vs. Alvarez 2. Career from 2019-2022. In January 2019, Oscar de la Hoya instructed Golden Boy president Eric Gomez to start negotiating a deal for a third fight between Golovkin and Alvarez. Golden Boy had already booked in May 4, Cinco de Mayo weekend at the T-Mobile Arena. A few days later, Gomez posted on social media, after preliminary talks with Golovkin's team, he felt as though Golovkin did not want a third fight. On January 17, it was announced that Alvarez would take part in a middleweight unification bout against Daniel Jacobs on May 4, 2019. On February 1, TheBlast.com reported that Golovkin had filed a lawsuit against his former managers Maximilian and Oleg Herman, seeking $3.5 million in damages. In the suit it claimed the Herman brothers had taken advantage of Golovkin financially, taking higher percentages and intentionally failing to account for revenue from previous fights. At the same time, it was reported that Golovkin was negotiating a broadcast deal with DAZN, Showtime/Fox and ESPN. On February 27, Tom Loeffler stated Golovkin was close to securing a deal, with some reports suggesting he was going to sign with DAZN. On March 8, DAZN announced they had signed Golovkin on a 3-year, 6-fight agreement, worth around $100 million, which would see Golovkin fight twice a year on the platform. It was revealed part of the agreement was Golovkin would earn a purse of $30 million for a trilogy fight against Alvarez. Apart from Golovkin's own fights, the agreement also included for 2 fight cards per year in 2020 and 2021 for GGG Promotions, to showcase talent from Golovkin's own promotional company. It was rumored that Golovkin was offered equity in DAZN through his fight purses. Golovkin's first bout under the new contract was scheduled for June 2019. Golovkin praised DAZN's global vision and highlighted that as one of the key reasons he signed with them. Golovkin vs. roles. Golovkin vs. Derevyanchenko. Golovkin vs. Zermata. Golovkin vs. Murata. Super middleweight. Golovkin vs. Alvarez 3. Training style. Golovkin is known for his hard sparring sessions, in which he often sparred with much larger opponents. His biggest sparring partner was a heavyweight, vicious Vincent Thompson, who was a 243 pounds prospect with a 13-0 professional record at the time. Golovkin's other notable regular sparring partners include Darnell Boone, David Benavidez, and brothers John and Julius Jackson. He occasionally sparred with Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Sergey Kovalev, Shane Mosley, Peter Quillen, and other top-ranked boxers. According to David Emiziri, a heavyweight who worked as a sparring partner for Alexander Povetkin and completed 6 different training camps in Big Bear, sparred for a total of about 100 rounds with Golovkin. Emiziri said Golovkin routinely dispatched of heavyweights and hit harder than Povetkin. Will Clemens, a cruiserweight, who worked with both Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Golovkin, told, "You know it's an experience of a lifetime. Floyd would definitely make you work, make you think a lot, Triple G make you fear for your life. For real, that's the kind of power he has, and everything is hard from the jab. I wanted to feel that power, which I did. I got what I was asking for. Usually they make you wear rib protectors. My heart's had it I didn't wanna wear one, and then I learned my lesson. I got hit with a body shot that felt like it was a missile. It was a great experience to be in there with the hardest hitting middleweight in history." Golovkin's ex-trainer Abel Sanchez praised him for his work ethic and humbleness. "He has been that way since I first got him 8 years ago. He is humble and shy guy, like you see him now, and it's actually pretty pleasant to be around somebody like that, who's not just foam at the mouth and trying to say who he's gonna kill next." Sanchez also stated that until 2019 Golovkin did not have a strength and conditioning coach or a nutritionist, for he prefers a traditional cuisine and training regimen, and because of Sanchez's determination to not have any assistants, along the track of Gennady being who he has become, I would get consistently emails and messages and letters from coaches, and nutritionists, and strength and conditioning coaches, that would tell me that if I use them, and if I bring them in, they promised me that they can make Gennady 50% better than he is right now. Could you imagine that? We couldn't get fights before. If he was 50% better we wouldn't be able to get any fights. He would be destroying everybody, there would be nobody that he could fight." Personal life. In 2006, Golovkin moved from his native Kazakhstan to Stuttgart, Germany, and then in 2013 to train with Abel Sanchez at Big Bear, California. In 2014, he moved to Santa Monica, California, where he lives with his family. He trains in Big Bear, California. He and his wife Alina have a son who is in primary school, and a daughter who was born days before his first fight with Canelo Alvarez. Golovkin speaks 4 languages, Kazakh, Russian, German, and English. His fraternal twin brother Maxim, an amateur boxer, joined Gennady's camp and team in 2012. Golovkin said he wanted his son to attend school in California because his training camp, team, and promotions are based in California. He has many friends there and he considers it a beautiful place. Golovkin's favorite food is beef. Golovkin enjoys playing games with his son and spending time with his family. In an interview with Kazakh media, Golovkin said that he was frequently approached in the US by ad and film-making people, who asked him to make guest appearances, co-star in movies or appear in other media. Though he described himself as a media-friendly person, he added, "I avoid starring in movies, appear on magazine covers. I love boxing, and I don't want to divert from it." Right now my sports career is more important for me. Professional boxing record. Pay-per-view bouts.